Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Tombstone here, and today we're going in depth into Springtrap, his perks, and his power. We will talk about maybe some builds and ideas for gameplay, so make sure you hit like, subscribe for more videos. Now, let's not waste any time, let's get right into who Springtrap actually is. So who is Springtrap? By the way, if you don't care about the lore, skip to the timestamp on screen or use the timestamps in the description. Anyway, Springtrap is the purple guy, or by his real name, William Afton. Afton co-owned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza along with his partner, Henry Emily. At first, before he became a murder psychopath in the fog, he actually loved his kids and wanted to entertain them. He designed suits that people could wear, while Henry created robots that could sing and dance on their own. Their combined ideas were the Springlock suit, which were faulty, but they were still working out the kinks. Now, what's important to know is that Afton had 3 kids, Elizabeth, Michael, and the crying child whose name is unknown and shrouded by speculation. Yeah, most of the franchise is. I'd just like to say real quick that I'm not going into the whole FNAF lore, but only the stuff to do with up to Springtrap. There are plenty of videos with full in-depth lore, but I do have to warn you because most of them are pretty lengthy, 24 hours long. So I suggest if you are interested in watching the lore, go watch Game Theory's full timeline. It's as short as they get for being in-depth, 1 hour, and also pretty credible. You can find the link in the video description. So now, let's get back to the kids. The crying child never liked his father's creations. He despised them. They terrified him. His brother didn't help either because he just tormented him more. Then, one day in 1983, the crying child suffers death on his birthday due to a certain Fredbear giving Evan, again a speculated name, a nice kiss on the head. Now, how did this kid find his way into the jaws of the animatronic? Why, it was his loving brother, of course. This death broke the Afton family. Miss Afton grew depressed and never left the TV, drowned in grief. William retreated to his work and welled in his hatred and grief. And Michael just felt the guilt of his brother's blood. Now Afton, he blamed 2 people for the death of his beloved son. His very own Michael. He literally shoved Evan's head into Fredbear. Because of this, he needed to punish Michael. He decided to torment Michael with nightmares. I'd like to also mention that in FNAF 4, we play as Michael, not the crying child as many think. And the nights aren't nightmares at all. Aston designed animatronics with smooth exoskeletons. These animatronics were given sound illusion discs to look monstrous, and this can be proved by Nightmare's jump scare, which is the final boss, being mechanical and sounding kind of like a malfunctioning sound disc. And also the fact that Nightmare looks kind of smooth and transparent. William also blamed one other person, Henry. He hated Henry from the start. He dripped with jealousy and always wanted to be smarter and better than him. Not to mention that Fredbear, the animatronic that literally killed his son, was Henry's creation. He was angry. It wasn't fair that he suffered no penalty. He set out to make things right and ended up killing his first ever kid, Charlotte Emily, Henry's daughter. This is where Afton basically gains his tier 3 bloodlust and wants to kill more. So Henry knew after his daughter's death, knew that Afton killed his daughter. But there was no proof. They couldn't find anything. There was no proof putting Afton at the crime. So Henry cut Afton out of the Freddy Fazbear's, Fredbear's, all the restaurants. And obviously Afton didn't like this. So he set out and did like any person would do when they're angry. Sneak into the restaurant and lure 5 kids into the parts and service room. He did this wearing his spring bunny suit. He murdered them in cold blood. He enjoyed it. He needed to hide the bodies, however. Where better than inside the animatronic suits? So he stuffs the kid's corpse into the suits and leaves. So naturally, Freddy gets shut down because the kids go missing. But this doesn't stop Afton. He doesn't stop there. He decides he's going to build his own restaurant because he can't stop the feeling. So he makes his own restaurant, Circus Baby Pizza World. He made these animatronics special for his secret addiction. I mean, his favorite was Circus Baby. Now, the animatronics, they all were special. They could all get away with the deed while the people weren't around. They were smart like that. But none compared to his favorite, Circus Baby. I mean, she could do everything. She could sing, dance, blow balloons from her fingertips, make ice cream, grab and stuff kids into her chest cavity where they got crushed and killed. He made those smart. They killed only when safe. He needed to do this. He needed to. Then one day, his daughter, the light that helped William through his dark times, went with Circus Baby alone. I'd like to mention the reason behind his child murdering spree now. Remnant. Basically, it's when a child's soul mixes with the animatronics, making them possess the robots. This is how the crying child is able to possess Golden Freddy, and how the Freddy, Foxy, Bonnie, Chica, all of them, how they possess the animatronics. Now, after needed to bring his son back, as he said in FNAF 4, he will put him back together. And now he needs to bring back his daughter. So he returns to the original location and decides that he's going to lure the possessed animatronics back into the room. Then he breaks them down and tries to extract their remnant. Whenever he goes to leave, however, he's confronted by the ghost children. And they corner Afton. They surround him. Afton's terrified. He's surrounded by the victims that he murdered. And so in a last-ditch effort to escape, he puts on the old Spring Bonnie suit. It works. The kids don't recognize him. He won. He is superior. He is smarter. He beat the dead. And now... Springtrap comes with 3 teachable perks: Help Wanted, Phantom Fear, and Haywire. Help Wanted allows you to compromise the generator for 60 seconds, and then your basic attacks are 25% faster if they are a successful hit. They basically are kind of save the best for last stacks. Then we have Phantom Fear, which makes it to where when a survivor in your terror sees you, they will scream and reveal their aura for 2 seconds. Finally, Haywire. It makes it so whenever an exit is past half progression and then it's let go of, it starts to regress at a rate of 50%. So basically, you finally can regress exit gates. That's really cool. Now let's go in depth more what we can use these perks in. For Help Wanted, I can already see where this is going to fit in, and y'all probably can too, but it's probably going to fit into the more chase themed builds. This is going to be your save the best for last rapid brutality combos, except now it'll be a trio because you'll have Help Wanted in with it. And just imagine rapid brutality helps you get up to your people faster with your slower cooldown with save the best for last full 8 stacks, which is already really, really fast, along with 25% added bonus from Help Wanted after kicking a gen for 60 seconds. That's kind of crazy. And I don't remember what the save the best for last stacks are, so I'll add it up on screen right now whenever I go to edit it. But that's insane. You'll be able to catch up survivors, and it'll probably almost be kind of like bringing back the old machine gun meta from all the way back in 2016, I think. Or maybe it was 2017. All the way back at the beginning of the DVD. That is broken. As for Phantom Fear, I can see this in a pig head pop build or a totem build where you can just kind of guard your totems or pig traps, because then if they look at you, they're going to scream, right? It can help out with that. I can see it going into more of like totem builds or into aura reading and information builds, because if you have some survivors who are like really hiding from you, or say if you're having a more aura-based information build, like Nurse or something, they can't even look at you, and if they do, you'll know, and then you'll be able to blink to them with your aura reading, or find them and start your chase. This could really go good on information builds. I really think there's some room for some testing. Finally, we have Haywire, which is an in-game perk, and like I said, it regresses at 50% once they make it halfway. I can already see so many builds that this perk is going to be used in. I mean, they're always going to be in-game builds, so it is an in-game perk, but I can already see a nasty build coming out. A trapper build. In-game trapper. You have the traps that take forever to disarm. You have Remember Me to make the gates take forever to open. You have No Way Out to make it hard to even get to the gates. And then you have the Haywire to make it to where once they leave it regresses. And then you can even have another in-game perk, maybe No Ed or whatever other in-game perk. Or maybe you could have the gold perk that blocks all the pallets and windows whenever the stuff is done. Or maybe the What's Your perk. But the reason that would make that build so strong is that they would disarm the trap, right? So you're making your way over there. They start with the exit gate. After No Way Out, if they make it past No Way Out, they start with the exit gate. You get instant downs. They make it past Remember Me, makes it take forever to get the exit gate open. If they do make it past 3%, you knock them off it. You reset your trap. The exit gate starts to regress down to 0 at 50% the normal speed. You take them, you hook them, reset your trap. By the time they open up the trap again to start redoing the exit gates, it is impossible. The exit's already down to 0. You just rinse and repeat over and over, making it pretty much impossible to open the gates, making this in-game build pretty much terrifying. And I can probably have more insight and more tricks for the perks, but this is pretty much going to be it as of now, because I can only look and see what I witnessed. But on June 17th, whenever I finally can look at the perks and feel them for myself, and that's not to mention if the perks get nerfed or buffed, or if changes happen, we can maybe go off of that. But whenever it goes live, we'll be able to have even more information and even more crazy stuff to do whenever it's out of PvP. But anyway, that's all really for the perks. So let's go and move on to the next section, the final section about Springtrap's power. Now let's talk about the more interesting aspect of Springtrap, his power. Springtrap's power has 2 different parts, the doors and the axe. The axe is more simple, so I'll start with that. And just because I say simple doesn't mean that it's not very, very skillful or have a high skill ceiling. Because it is a projectile. Because it being a projectile means that there are many trick shots and cool shots that you can do that comes only with experience and time. So I know the Huntress mains are probably really giddy right now because you're literally throwing an axe, So, but here's the thing about the axe that's different from a Huntress projectile or an unknown ball or a clown bottle. The axe has a very, very sharp drop. So if you throw it straight, if you hold it down and then throw it straight, it's just going to fall right in front of you. Or if you throw it all the way high up in the air, it'll go high, it'll fall down really, really fast with a big impact. But this is because it's very, very heavy, it'll come down, land really, really hard and make a shockwave. Now, you have to throw it maximum distance at 45 degrees. If you miss a survivor, though, don't worry. You're not completely embarrassed because you can make it look like you meant that. Because whenever it lands, you're benefited by getting Killer Instinct if they go in a shockwave that appears around it whenever it misses. And with some add-ons, make you faster while in the little shockwave or make you undetectable whenever you miss it. Whenever you hit a survivor, the survivor will become broken because they have an axe lodged in the back, It will get stuck in their back, and you can go retrieve your axe manually if you get up close to them. This will play an animation that you saw in the transition, and it'll render flashlight saves useless because you're in an animation. You'll instantly pick them up. If you don't, you can just injure them, and you can pick them up normally, but it is kind of hard to get the animation because you have to be right up on them while they're chasing you. But if you're in a dead zone, I can see this really working for you, especially if you have an altruistic squad. Now, if the survivor is already broken or injured, you can down them by hitting them with an axe, and you have to pick them up. If the axe is taken out, it'll come right back to you, but you can also call the axe back to you after a short time. I'm pretty sure I went over everything with the axe, so let's move on to the doors, which is also really, really cool. The doors are, I guess you could say, are a little more complex than the axe, but still fairly simple. Springtrap Space Kit isn't the most complex in the world. It's not like Singularity or Clown's Bottles, how in depth that goes. It's simple, but it can take some mastery. The way the doors work for Killer is that they can be used as mobility. You can teleport around the map, basically. You open a door, you walk in, you choose whichever door, they always spawn around generators, and you go to the door and you leave. You go through a security office, so that's pretty cool, and a really cool interaction in the security office, which I will go over in a second. But whenever you leave, you gain undetectable for a certain period of time that can be lengthened with add-ons, basically allowing for some cool jump scares. Now, a survivor, when they interact with the doors, they can use it too to teleport around. They also go through the security doors and through the office to the other end. And they can also use cameras. So cameras appear on top of security doors. Whenever you look through a camera, if you see Springtrap and you hold on him, you will reveal him, and not like Ghostface reveal, but you will reveal him enough and Springtrap will hear it, and everyone on the team will be able to see Springtrap's aura. Now, you can't just stay on cams or else the power will die, rendering the doors and the cameras unusable until the power is fixed. Now, with the cameras, you can also go to whichever door and teleport to them, like I said. If Springtrap ends up walking into the door that you go into, so if you enter the door and then he enters after you, he will grab you and pick you up. If you go into the door that he is going into, so if you go from, say, door 6 to door 2, and he goes from 2 to 6, he will grab you. If you go from 2 to 6, and he's also going into 2, he will also grab you. So you don't want to be on the same door as him. Now, Springtrap can also stop you from revealing him. If he sees you, if he starts to get revealed, he can throw the axe at the door, rendering the door useless to all survivors and to all, well, he can still use them, but to all survivors. And the cameras are unusable for survivors on that camp too. If a camera is on one door, the other camera can't be on the same one, so you can't be on the same camera. And I already talked about power. If it all goes down, it's shut down. You can't use the doors and you can't use the cameras until the powers are filled, but this does not affect Springtrap at all. I'm pretty sure that's everything with his doors power. I talked about the teleports. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's everything with his door power. Now, I can already kind of see some aura. Since it spawns near generators, if you're on a map like Midwich, you can use Darkness Revealed, find the aura of the different survivors if they're on a gen, or if they're about to go into a door, you can hop into that door, go into their door, and meet them and get a cool grab. And it's just really cool too, because if you don't know that they're going into the same door as you, it can make it for a really, really cool jump scare. I can also see with the axe, which I do find it a bit annoying that you have to be right behind them to grab it. I can see you throwing the axe at the survivor, chasing them on Larry's, maybe cutting them off, going near a corner, going undetectable, with maybe going through a door to cut them off, or maybe you use Insidious, stand still for a couple seconds, go undetectable, have them run through the doorway, and you grab the axe from the corner. So you pop out of nowhere and grab it out their back. Now, we do have one final aspect of Springtrap, which are his cosmetics, which we know will be the yellow rabbit from the movie. voiced by Matthew Lillard. Glitchtrap, which I'm definitely getting. And I'm pretty sure there's a purple Springtrap. I don't remember the name of it. That's coming out, but this is all just stuff I've seen. And you can also do the Mori. I'll put the Mori here for you to watch.
And now you are mine.
Well, that's everything on Springtrap. So thank y'all for watching. If you stay this long, make sure to like, subscribe. I worked really hard on this. Took me a lot to do the editing. Took me like 2 days so far. So make sure you do like and subscribe. It would really help me out. And until next time, rest in peace.